Welcome to the Multisport Mindset Podcast, a podcast by age group athletes for age group athletes, focused on sharing stories, knowledge, and highlighting success in endurance. My name is Aubrey Hayes, and my co-host is Joshua Gordon. Welcome to our endurance journey. Hey everyone, my name is Aubrey Hayes, age group athlete, USAT Level 1 coach. We have a very interesting podcast for you today. We're here today with a good friend and athlete, Eric Shackelford. Goes by Shaq if you want to call him that. His journey in endurance sports has been interesting and rewarding, and I personally cannot wait to learn more about his background, experience, and future goals. Hey Shaq, how's it going?
All right, doing good. Good day today.
Nice, nice. Let's just jump right into this. Let's let everybody know who you are. So, Eric, go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what your career is, your family, whatever you want to let the listeners know.
Yeah. Well, my name's Eric Shackelford. Obviously, good friends with Coach Aubrey here. I've got two kids and a wife. I've been in the Army for about 24 years today. Makes 24 years. So going back to high school, I tried to run track a little bit in high school. I did a few things. Not very into it really. I just kind of ran just to do something on the side. I didn't really get into a whole lot of sports. Just didn't grow up with it as I moved around from. I was born in Mississippi. Lived in Tennessee, Florida. Back here in Kentucky for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any really influence on any kind of sports or athletics at all really. I did taekwondo for years, but never any kind of cardio sport. Honestly, until I
What?
just kind of got into it myself only.
Yeah. What got you settled in Kentucky?
Uh, family. Mom moved here. We had family here, so this is kind of where we stuck. So, kind of made my life here in Louisville.
Yeah. So Louisville, Kentucky, not Louisville or Louisville. It's Louisville for the listeners out there. If you're
Yeah, there's
from Louisville,
there's a sign downtown that tells you how to say it 10 different ways.
or you can always tell people it's like having a mouthful of rocks and then trying to talk or like slur talking, right?
Yep.
So, yeah. If you want to get on everybody's good side in Louisville, Kentucky, you say it right when you first meet them. Nice, man. So you mentioned a little bit about like you didn't really get into sports in high school, but you did do a little track. So you heard this story, but I love hearing this story every time. So you have an interesting story from running in high school. Can you let your listeners in on a little bit of how that went and where it ended up?
Yeah. So I guess my first introduction to any kind of endurance sports, I ran a mile. In high school, it was track. Ran with cross country guys. Kind of just trained with them. Right. Was not very good at all. By no means competitive. I mean, I was not placing any matches. So
Yeah.
I decided, okay, I'm gonna go get me some spikes to run the mile in, just because they look
So you,
cool.
so you felt like the spikes were gonna like increase your
I
performance
didn't,
out of
I didn't
nowhere?
know, didn't have anybody teaching me or really telling me what to do, except for the coaches there. They just said, hey, pick your feet up, don't drag your feet when you run, the little
Yeah.
stuff. So I decided to go get these Pumas that are blue and white and amazing. I used to chrome the little spikes on the bottom of them, so they're looking good for every match.
Yeah.
So I decided to run. I came in second to last, fourth to last, whatever, most of these races, and just running the mile at, I don't even know what it was, probably 10-minute mile, something crazy. So finally, what I deemed my last match was I had a lot of people there, I had my friends there coming to watch me run this race. And so I get these Pumas, get them on, lace them up. I'm there matching, they hit the gunners. Bam, I take off. I'm running. I'm just running. And I'm not very good at all. So I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm not last. I'm just having fun with it. All my friends were cheering me on. And
Yeah.
so I'm running, and I look behind me, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not last. So I go into the last turn of the mile, and all of a sudden I hear and I hear it behind me, and I was like, oh man. So this girl, mind you, she was very fast, just passes me at the last second. I mean, the last 5 yards probably before I finish, and I come in dead last. I'm like, man. So in high school, I decided to sell my cleats right there on the spot because a kid wanted to buy them for me, and I just happened to buy a pint of Heaven Hill. Don't edit that part out. And a pint and some cheeseburgers, and I never ran track again until I was into the army.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it wasn't
So you took a hiatus from running
well.
after that. and
Yes,
the Army forced you back into the sport you hate,
it
huh?
it did. And when I say I had no help, I was practicing in jean shorts when I would
Oh my
run around the
goodness.
track and practice. So I didn't have any guidance. So
Folks, that's not what Kentucky's like. It's just Eric Shackelford.
it was good times though.
Oh man, that's so great. Man, I can only imagine seeing you running in jean shorts. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So
But dude,
of course, in high school they tell you that you go to the sports stores and they give you a discount,
right.
for you to run track. So I was like, okay, I'll go get some shorts. I'll try to look the part. I get these shorts. I didn't try them on, and then I get to track the next day, and I didn't realize they were spandex, almost like jammers that you wear, And I'm in high
Yeah.
school. I'm 16 years old. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. So
I
it
mean,
took
you
me a
were
while to get
running. You
track.
had to run tights. You were trying to run fast.
It didn't work.
Yeah. Dude, that is so great. So we fast forward, you go in the army. I know for a long time you've done a lot of endurance events, done some like Ragnar races, what they call there in Kentucky, the
Yeah, the bourbon
bourbon,
chase. Yep.
yeah, bourbon trail. Um, it's a 200-mile relay race, stuff like that. And then obviously you've done marathons, half marathons, things like that. What got you back into running like that other than the army itself? Or was it
Yeah.
the army? Is it?
Man, obviously, the army, you run, that's naturally the first thing they try to make you do. I
Right.
was never any good, so I just kind of I got interested. I don't know who it was. I just said, okay, let me just try to run, just because
Yeah.
I always like the challenge, to if I can't do it, I just try to do it. And so I think I started my first actual marathon was in 2010. It was the Disney marathon, and
Hmm.
I'd always ran minis before, but I never had any time. I just run it just to run it. So, and that kind of started my interest of this is a sucky fun, so to speak,
Yeah.
and try to get better at it. So, but did not know anything. Like I didn't know nutrition, I didn't know training plan. I just ran and just until I could run 26 miles. So
I
by no
mean,
means
it's a way. I mean, you accomplished it, which was to finish, right?
yep.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that. They set a goal, they just want to finish. But there's some things that come with that, just running to just finish, right? And we'll kind of get into that, and that's where that kind of leads into my next question with you is, you did your first Ironman there in Louisville, Ironman Louisville, what, 2015?
Yeah, 15.
Okay, so what was that like? Like you mentioned for the marathon stuff, you didn't have a training program, a coach, nutrition was kind of off. Like,
Yeah.
so what did you have any of that for your first Ironman, and did you have a goal for it?
So the first interest of triathlons, really, I really had no interest. They had run it here in Louisville every year, and I volunteered one year just to help. I was like, okay, I'll go
Right.
help. And I think I was at mile like 12 or 13 or 14 of the run. So people had already swam, obviously biked, and then ran 12, 13 miles. And I'm seeing all these like what I think to be overweight people and 75-year-olds completing all this. So it almost guilt tripped me in to like trying to train and do it myself. I was like, if they can do it, I mean, come on, I can
So you're
I
you're
can at least
everyday. You saw your everyday person out there
yeah,
accomplishing a big feat, essentially, right? So
100%. So that
like
kind of
moms, dads, business people,
it
like
yeah, and I had no idea about it. I could always run a little bit, it's no good, but I could do distance. Then I think it took me a couple years to actually get into it, and then
yeah,
the one and so I started training in 14, and I could always run, right? I could do running. Didn't have any swim training plan whatsoever. I ended up going to the pool and had a guy kind of teach me a little bit one on one because he felt sorry for me. But
yeah.
again, when I started swimming, all I do was just swim. I would just do 100 laps on a 25-meter pool, and that's it. I would know.
That
I
sounds
just go.
miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable.
I mean, I would make a grocery list in my head. I'd be thinking about what I
Yeah.
had to do the next day, and then
I would argue to state that most people probably that's the where you get the most thinking done in the pool
yeah.
is, but just to go out there just to swim, no plan, that adds like another mental aspect to it. I would honestly say you became mentally tougher with no plan because I couldn't imagine going to the pool and being like, what am I going to do today?
And I
Like,
believe
yeah.
so. But in saying that, I didn't have knowing what I know now. We get into it. Like I didn't have a watch. I wasn't
Yeah.
timing myself. I was just going. And so I would just go and say, okay, I need to finish because what the cutoff was like, whatever the cutoff is for the swim was 2 hours, something like that. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
if I can swim, 2.5 miles under 2 hours, I'm good. So that's where that started off. And then obviously biking, I never biked at all, whatsoever. I went with the cheapest $500 bike, and the cheapest as I could go,
Right.
um, and had some group rides, but didn't know anything about training. And getting into it, and I've learned obviously over the years that I overtrained because I would go on the bike and just ride as hard as I could every time until I could get, the 111 miles in under, 8 hours or whatever. So when I
Yeah.
first started, I was training for the cutoffs, right? So in hindsight, that was the complete opposite of what I should have been doing.
And so with that, how did the Ironman itself go? You don't have to do like a full on like
Yeah, yeah.
race review, but like
It
how did it turn out for you and kind of and I know the answer to this one, but how did it turn out? And then how did you feel afterwards in the weeks to come afterwards,
uh,
training like that?
I guess the only benefit that I had was that I raced where I trained basically. So I kind of knew the course, right? So I kind of knew where to slow down, pick up. But it took me 14 hours and 41 minutes, I think, for my first, and
Yeah,
I was struggling. It was rough. I mean, after the fact, I think I told you I couldn't taste for 2 or 3 weeks. Like it was, I think thinking about it now, it taxed my body so much. Like I think it took years because I overtrained. I was just going
right.
hard every single time for hours and hours a day. I just didn't know what to do. On top of nutrition, which I had, I was eating beef jerky and candy, during the race, and I didn't eat beforehand. I didn't prep before or even after. So
Yeah.
it was a rough learning,
Didn't you
and I didn't.
stop on the run and eat like a hot dog or
Yeah, oh yeah.
bratwurst?
So obviously my goal was to just finish, right? I didn't
Right.
know what times were because I had nothing to base it off of. So yeah, so about mile I think 70, they had like an aid station, and I stopped. I used a porta potty, and they had for the workers had bratwurst, and I was like, lady, he's like, you gotta give me one of those bratwurst, and it was the best. I can taste it to this day, and it's been 10 years. I could taste that bratwurst because it was the most amazing thing ever. But again, I didn't know what I was doing. I just
Yeah.
was doing it for time. So yeah,
Okay. And so it would be fair to say like you enjoyed the moment. I know you talked to a bunch of people came out
yeah,
and saw you and stuff. You enjoyed the moment, but the training you did leading up to it kind of ruined your want to do it after that. How long till you touched your bike
it was
again?
well. Whenever you started, about 4 or 5 years, and I don't even know how my bike got in my house because after the race, I
Yeah.
didn't. So did not touch it for 4 or 5 years, and then I asked for interest. People at work, and I think you and you got there. I was like, "Hey, may want to do it?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it."
Yeah.
So all I needed was that one person.
And it's fair that you got me into this
Yeah,
triathlon thing, and then I went like full head on. I think it's because I have an addictive personality, and I grabbed a hold of it, and I was just like, this is something I love, and just like I haven't stopped. So
yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah, I owe it to you. And then it's like the teacher became the student, and the student became the teacher kind of thing going on here.
Had I been doing what I did now in 2015, it'd have been a huge story difference. So
Yeah, for sure, man. That's crazy. Well, and I think a lot of people probably go on it with that mentality, like I'll just do this. I need to make sure I ride for this amount
mhm.
of time, and I need to swim. And sometimes it's not as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah,
There's an actual structure that needs to go into your training, and
yeah.
we can kind of talk about that in a little bit. So with that, you talked about like 4 to 5 years
Hmm.
till you touched your bike. So now that you've been racing, because I know you've done some
Yeah.
Ironmans and stuff again now, so you're back in it. I'd like to say I was part of that. I got you back motivated. So, you know, can you let us know kind of what your most recent race results are, and how you focused or trained towards those race results?
Yeah, so I guess most recent, so well, after 2015, did some little minis and stuff and just try to run, the 5Ks just for fun. And then 2003, I ddid the Ironman Florida in Panama City, as which I trained for, which,
2003 or 23?
yep, 23. Yeah,
All
10
right.
years later. So 2023, I did Ironman Florida, and, that's when I actually trained, when I got with your program with PM. And actually had a plan and I stuck to it. So as much as I
Yeah.
could, and leading into what I was able to do with family and work and stuff. So I completed it. I even had a broken fifth metatarsal. So we could talk all day about injuries and training plan. That's
Yeah.
another podcast. We'll get
And
into
that
that.
was like a fluke injury, so it's not like an overuse because I
Yeah,
think you did a really good job of maintaining consistency through training, but also we did a good job of not like piling a bunch of stuff on top of you
yeah.
to get you injured. It was like, I mean, tell us about like you were just running down the street, minding your own business, right?
Knees covering a crack, and I stepped on the crack and just broke my foot. So
Man, step on the crack, break your mama's back. Ugh.
had I done that in 2015, I wouldn't. I just would have quit. Like I
Yeah,
was like, I'm not doing it. Like I probably would just quit because I didn't know how. I wouldn't have known how to even train. To do that. Breaking my foot, obviously, a run suffered.
right.
So I think I was supposed to do Chattanooga. Then I transferred it to the Panama City to give me an extra 2 months because like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
you
it
had your
was a
mindset.
whole learning curve there. Um,
Yeah, and there's something that I always talk to you about a little bit, and that was like some of the mentality with training, especially as like you're a full-time
mhm.
military guy, a father, a dad, uh, a husband, like you have a lot of responsibility, and so like getting done what you can get done. So we could kind of build your plan around what you could accomplish, and then what was the percentage I gave you, like with workouts, like, hey, if you can complete this,
Yeah, you're saying between 70 and 80%
yeah,
of you can do that of your prescribed workout, it'll get you to your goal. And like we talked
yeah,
before, I always said that okay, if I could do that, but if I could do more, my goal will increase and I'll just get that much better. So
yeah.
at the very least, doing
And
what
I
you
would
can.
argue that you definitely hit that on the way up to it. And then as you moved on
Hmm.
through the injury, we kind of added a lot of biking or biking with your boot on, stuff like that. And then the doctor told you to eventually said you're good and told you to suck it up and
Yeah,
start
yeah.
running again, right?
Yeah, so and that leads into obviously after do that one, took off a little bit, started training, and I was like, okay, now Louisville, Kentucky got there first.
Yeah, but what was your time for that one?
So that one was 12 hours, so almost 2 hours difference fully
To
of training, even through an injury.
even through
Uh,
an injury.
yeah,
Dang, man. That's a
yeah,
huge improvement. Like I think mentally, yeah, obviously physically, but mentally,
yeah,
that's a huge improvement, man.
yeah. So again, now that leads into I was kind of already conditioned, a little through doing that. So the next year, like I said, we just got a little advertisement here. The Louisville 70.3, um, they
Yeah,
just did it the half here this year because they did away with the full and now they do a half. So I was like, okay, I got to do the half. I've never done a half. I've done the sprints, the Olympics, might as well in my hometown. And again, torn meniscus. So now you remember now I'm running and training through a torn meniscus to do a half marathon,
yeah,
which like I said, that's a whole different podcast. We could talk about how to train. It's just still complete. Given you don't need
yeah.
surgery and stuff like that. So it was another hurdle to jump over that one.
And that was
But
a
I'm
freak accident too. It just kind of just happened, man. You're getting old, dude.
I
How
know.
old are you, Shaq?
Yeah, you 42. You can edit that
40.
out too.
Yeah. Oh
No,
man.
it was good though. But again with injuries, you work through it, listen to the doctor, right? I didn't need surgery, and that's kind of got me to I don't have any tries signed up for now, but now I'm trying to I'm racing myself, right? So now I'm trying to get PRs for a 5K,
Mm-hmm.
a 10K, the little shorter races just to see if I can do it, because
Yeah, for sure.
now that I know what I can do.
Man, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I was gonna ask you like your future goals, ambitions in the multi-sport world. Like, obviously, you're working towards um, that and then doing half marathons, but you don't race half marathons like the normal person. You and a good buddy of ours likes to run the Derby half marathon every year as a different character, right?
Yeah, yeah, we like to dress up, and I know you don't like it. I'm wasting my potential. That's
Yes, because you have a chance to hit a PR. Um, so it's just like, man, but
so what
part
I
of
do
this is having fun, right? Like enjoying what you're doing. And I think a lot of us get lost in that. Because even me as a coach, I'm like, man, you should really, but if it's what keeps you in the sport and you enjoying the endurance world, that's why not,
yeah.
you know?
And I think my quote that I've I think I like to say I developed myself is you training should be fun, right? If you're doing quality training, you get it done, do your workout stuff like that, but it should be kind of fun. You should enjoy it. And race day, you just suck it up and you do what you got to do race day. So because if you're having a bad training day, like you're not getting that quality training, like you say. Like I mean, it's not
Yeah.
about quantity. If you get a good solid day in, that's worth more than two awful days where you have to stop or something like that. So
Yeah, that and the consistency of training, like being able to wake up every day and hit that training, right? So enjoying it, knowing what your goal is, what your vision is, things like that, get you a lot further than like you did on your first Ironman, which is just show up and do some stuff. So
miserable.
yeah, yeah. So what are the I want to know what have you dressed up for or dressed up as during the um half marathons, the Derby City half marathons?
Well, the first one was we can share links and post pictures later. It was
Yeah,
I did Forrest Gump, but I did
yeah.
Forrest Gump when he started running straight from the bench with his box of chocolates, right? So that was
Okay,
with
yeah.
the suit, you know, terrible idea too because you sweat. We did just the next one was Back to the Future. I think I was Marty, another guy was Doc. We just did Wayne's World with the full guitar. This last one and this year is gonna be super dumb. It's Dumb and Dumber. So we're
Oh
getting
yeah, there you
orange
go.
and blue suits to run in, but
Even
but
better.
again, so I train so I can do
Like
these type of
stuff.
stupid things.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
You are the most like
There's an
ridiculous.
army. Yep, there's an army saying it's you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
So it's usually a lost toenail or or something
Yeah,
like that.
I'm sure a lot of those costumes destroy you. Like I couldn't imagine carrying a guitar for 13 miles.
I had a strap on
Dumb.
it. It was
And then
cool.
that one year you and I did the Urban Bourbon Half Marathon
Yep.
and the theme was bourbon and we carried flasks of bourbons. I'm gonna post a picture of that up here with it, but we were taking shots like every what was it like every 3 or 4 miles.
Maker's Mark.
Worst idea on earth.
Hot, warm Maker's Mark. Not a yeah.
Yeah, worst idea. They got some good pictures of us, man.
Yep.
Yeah, so, but man, I got another big question for you. So, we talk about enjoying triathlon, enjoying multi-sport, not just staying in that mentality of I got to do triathlon, but the entire endurance world, right? So, like, as you train, what do you think your biggest factors to your improvement endurance is? And especially have you gained more
hmm
responsibility? So how much have you improved and how did you do it?
Yeah. So first race 2015, no kids. Right. I
Yeah,
was married, but so I had more time. But I think now having two kids done the full and a half now, it's honestly for one nutrition. Right. I believe because I've I've maintained a steady nutrition throughout the day. So I'm still burning calories after workouts. So I'm refueling myself, getting my salts and sodiums because then I would not be as tired or worn out to be able to train the next day, right? So you talk about
yeah,
train hard today, but not so hard where you can't do something the next day. So nutrition played a huge factor. I just had more
yeah,
energy, right? And then leading into actually following an actual plan. For me, it was getting frustrated when I would train before. I would even with the 2023 the Florida Ironman. I was so focused on got to get my miles and got to do this, and I was neglecting half my real my life. Like I don't want to say my kids, but I really was, and it did take a toll. So learning after that to just hey do some workouts. If you can't get it all in, you do something. Make it that quality workout, right?
yeah,
And then just following that plan that you set. And it just if you just trust it, trust your training. An old guy told me that in 2015. Well, really wasn't training, but
mhm,
he said trust your training. If you follow it, man, it'll your body's going to be conditioned no matter what. So
100%,
nutrition and
man.
just be like you said, being consistent even if it's not the full workout, be consistent doing something. It made a world. I mean, it took 2 hours off,
Yeah.
with a broken foot.
And then like one of those big things I think you had was setting that mentality of, all right, I'm gonna get my workout in. So I plan my workouts throughout the
Yeah.
week. Like, hey, I got an hour this morning or 2 hours this day. I'm gonna do it. And then it's done. And then the rest of the day, I'm focused on my family. Because I think a lot of age group athletes get this mentality like, I
Mm-hmm.
have to think endurance, I have to think triathlon, I have to think marathon 24/7.
Yeah.
You don't, man. Get the work in. and then get
Mhm.
back to what matters most, which is your family, your job, your life.
And that's the first time in 2015. It took me, I think I trained for 9 or 10 months. I didn't have a single beer, like didn't even have a drink at all the whole time because I
Yeah,
thought that was hurting my body. Like I thought I was, because I didn't drink a much, but like I didn't do anything. I cut everything out. Even in 2023, like I was still cutting things out, and like that's where it got into my mental. I was like, man, I'm not getting a workout. And then I got, my kids are say they don't see me enough, and because I didn't want to make it my whole life, right? Because I
right.
got work, and then we talked. We travel a lot for work, and I started bringing my bike with me. Doing runs instead of going out and do the normal things that I used to do. It's not permanent. I was just doing that because I had a goal. Like, man,
Yeah,
I'm going to do this race, then I can do the rest of the stuff I want to do after the race. So
yeah,
it took me.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that either, and you could still do that and still be
Mhm.
focused on work and things like that. Because I know when I travel, I definitely take. I'm like, I'm gonna bring my swim stuff just in case there's a pool. I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna bring that. And I'm my trainer on my bike in a hotel room, but it's like, hey, let's get a workout in the morning, trying to schedule that. And I think a lot of people struggle with that is like planning it at a time for you. Like this is me time. I'm gonna get my workout in, and then once that's done, I'm a father. I'm a
Mhm.
mother.
Yep.
I'm whatever my career is, and I'm taking care of things. So.
Yeah.
I think you
I can see
you
that.
did a really good job with leaning into that eventually, but it took some
Yeah.
time.
It took a minute, but it's like if I got my training day in, you're done. Don't
Yeah,
worry about it until the next training day, till the next day or something. So, yeah, it
for
was
sure, dude.
definitely there's sacrifice, but it's completely manageable. So in 2015, I remember running at mile 18, and I talked to some guy during, after we'd already biked and everything, and he was from Illinois, and he had like 6 kids. I'm like, man, how do you even train to do this? You have 6 kids. Like, are you not a? Actually, he said he got up in the mornings, did a little swim, took kids, did his thing, came back. So he made time to do it. So
Yeah,
that I've never forgot that, and couldn't tell you the guy's name. I mean, he lives from Illinois, but I never forgot what he said, and I was like, man, they're doing it. I can do it.
good deal, man. So, you know, that's all the questions I have for you today, but um if people want to meet up with you at the Derby City Half Marathon and take pictures with Dumb and Dumber, do you welcome it?
Dude, all day. They can run with
Right.
us. We can do what you want.
Yeah. So you can look at Eric Shackelford up on Instagram, maybe get a hold of him
Facebook,
for a
whatever you want.
picture. Yeah, and yeah, he'll meet up with you, and they try to play out their role pretty well when the news comes on. They try not to break character, so you
We
may
won't
see
break
them
character.
on the
We'll stay calm.
news. Yeah,
Don't take it
but
personal.
man, so dude, this has been a great conversation. It's been an honor to have you on the podcast today as a friend, and I would say as an inspiration to anyone who's looking to start the journey in the endurance world, man. You have a full life while balancing your goals, and I think that is what most age group athletes strive to do. And I'm sure they appreciate your input on your story and maybe find some ways that they can put that into their life,
Yeah, man.
man.
Take a
So.
goal and see it through.
Yeah, for sure, dude. So we really appreciate you coming on today with us and wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors, brother.
Yep. You too, man. We'll be seeing you soon.
All right, take it easy.
Thank you all for joining the Multisport Mindset Podcast. Click that follow button and join us every Wednesday for a new episode. Make sure to visit the team website at www.precisemultisport.com. Follow on Instagram and subscribe on YouTube. We will see you next week.